and a warm welcome to today's webinar on the topic, The Future of AI in Game Localization, hosted by us at Gridley. My name is Anna Albinsson, and I am the CEO of Gridley, and I am your webinar host of today. I'm very happy to welcome you to this panel discussion on this super interesting topic of the future of AI in game localization. Let's introduce our amazing speakers. So first off is Denis Ivanov from Belka Games, an expert within game localization and integrating AI, and a specialist in scaling workflows. He also brings a special perspective with his unique global experience. Secondly, we have Mike King from Kong Studios with over 20 years of gaming localization experience, ranging from AAAs to startup, and his current focus on applying AI and automation in localization pipelines. He will definitely have great insights on today's topic. And finally, we have Tucker Mills from the Bards Guild, a localization expert with more than 15 years of experience in delivering games for worldwide audiences. He specializes in modern localization workflows and assisted translations, and brings an important perspective on building player-focused pipelines that balance both quality, speed, and cost. So a very experienced panel within this field about the roles that we see within our industry. So what does this rapid advancement in AI technology mean for us working in localization, and how will we see different roles adapting in this new ecosystem? Should we start with you, Tucker, on this one?
Sure. So this is a nice caveat from Mike, I think, actually. So I think because AI translation and machine translation are becoming so easily accessible, right? Even without the need for a LSP, a localization service provider, you can get a good enough quality from your first pass efforts, right? So it seems like this has already happened with Mike's company, but the role of translator, especially entry-level translators, is quickly disappearing or has already disappeared. So as that rapid translation is more accessible, it's up to us, right, the localization experts, to pump the brakes a little bit and help create and manage the workflows and the processes, and finally implement like the best practices that we've been wanting for the past decade or so, right? I remember I was at a company in Shanghai in like 2013, and we were tasked with creating a kind of 15-point localization best practices wish list. And we only ever got 2 or 3 of those from our developers, right? Because we were always so stuck in the mud with just translation. So now that these, the heavier lifted part of localization, which is the translation, can be faster with AI, I think we can now pivot to solving these long-standing workflow issues. So to do that for me, right, I think localization program managers and engineers, you have to build AI capabilities into your workflows, right? Determine what parts of the process can be automated, what can be done by AI. And I think probably within the next year or two, we'll see more automated LQA. I think that's really a problem that hasn't been solved yet, especially when it comes to the quality part. Translators, I think we need to have kind of an industry-led effort to put them at the start of the project so that they can be involved in world building and term creation. I think too often right now, localization is pushed to the end of the process, the last 2 months of development, or handled in QA, right? But if, even if you chunk it out and you have maybe a first month of project initiation, if your developers had all of their UI translated at the start of the game, then we could get rid of a lot of LQA issues that are persistent throughout a project. So really trying to push that translation pipeline to the start, I think, is great. And then I see linguists and translators taking more of a LQA heavy role. Not so much like a post-editing and a cat tool role, but really like playing the game and trying to improve things in context. And then lastly, I think for localization project managers, it's even more important than it used to be to work with developers to like properly classify your strings, right? Properly label them. So what are your skills, right? And not only what are the skills, but which hero does this skill belong to? So that when you're going and using AI and saying, hey, I want you to review all of, again, Tucker's 10 skills for consistency, you need to be able to identify those. So it really becomes about structuring your language pack and your content so then you can use AI effectively instead of just hoping that you can throw an LLM at the issue and solve all your problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many roles still needed, but maybe in a different way or in a different stage of the process as well. Yeah. What's your take on this, Mike?
So I read it somewhere that with the AI, specialized skill sets, people with the specialized skill sets will be kind of out of jobs. Fortunately, as much as we are all kind of specialized in localization, we are specialized in many other fields, right? Working in localization kind of exposes you to pretty much every other fields in the industry, from legal, marketing, gaming, everyday life, culturalizations, and many other things, right? I think it's like from how roles going to be adopted will be, people will have to cover not only the localization, translation part, but also expanding expertise throughout many different areas to kind of become the expert in advising all the cultural aspects, as well as uh, you know maybe people may have to come to us for legality of the overseas countries. What culturalization allocations for other regions. Uh, they may come to us to ask about what type of AI voices companies that we may want to use for certain languages. I believe there may be other roles in future that's somewhat localization, but covers way broader than localization due to AI, in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. Denis, what's going on at Belka on this front?
I totally agree with Tucker and Mike that now roles are like transforming into something else. And I would say that just being a localization manager, linguist, or translator isn't enough anymore. And yes, like I believe that AI won't replace you, but a person who knows how to use AI will replace you. And this person might, I would tell, not just replace one specialist. They could potentially do the work of several people or even the whole department. And yeah, it sounds scary, but I think that's the reality. We should understand the reality of today. And we all need to learn how to use these tools, keep up with the news, and just experiment all the time. If you used to manage people, for example, now you need to learn how to manage AI agents and configure AI pipelines. And for example, in the past, you might have like spent all your time proofreading text or sending documents here and there. Now you can use this time as like Mike taught for culturalization, for example, to make sure that the joke from US localization doesn't offend someone in Finland or Sweden. This actually a really interesting shift. AI has opened the door for culturalization, which a lot of people used to ignore or didn't even know about it. And it's creating a need like for new kinds of specialists. And AI, everyone understands that AI definitely still struggles with the vibe of a text. So we finally have time to focus on it and to make sure the cultural resonance is actually hitting home for the player.